Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at something defense analysts are calling round two.
Right. It's this idea of a shift, away from regional conflicts towards something that targets the U.S. homeland directly.
And the threat we're focusing on is an electromagnetic pulse, an EMP.
Exactly. The whole mission of this dive is to understand the concrete intelligence suggesting this isn't just theory anymore. It's a potential bolt from the blue strike.
One designed to hit America's biggest vulnerability.
Our total absolute reliance on electricity and electronics. It's not about invasion. It's about instantly turning off our entire society.
Okay, so let's get into the biggest question right off the bat. Everyone asks about Iran's anti-nuclear fatwa. How do they possibly justify this?
This is where it gets really interesting. It's a kind of theological loophole.
The loophole?
A very specific one. The fatwa prohibits weapons that cause indiscriminate biological death. So, blast, radiation, that kind of thing.
Things that harm people directly.
Precisely. An EMP, in their interpretation, operates on a physical principle. It doesn't harm humans or animals, not directly. It only targets systems.
So they can classify it as electronic warfare.
Yes, and argue it adheres to the letter of Sharia law.
Wow. So the mass casualties that would follow, the 90% die-off projection from starvation, disease, that's just collateral damage.
It's seen as a secondary consequence. They rationalize it a bit like a medieval siege.
A siege.
Right. Cutting the supply lines is permissible. If the population inside starves, it's considered a result of their own fragility, not a direct act of killing.
That is a chilling way to frame it. Okay, let's move from the why to the how.
Yeah.
The physics of it. A high-altitude nuclear explosion or a HANE.
It's really a catastrophic 1-2 punch.
Okay.
First, you get the E1 wave. It's generated by the Compton effect, and it lasts for just nanoseconds.
Nanoseconds. So too fast for any standard surge protection.
Way too fast. It spikes thousands of volts into every conductor it touches and it fries the tiny silicon gates inside microchips.
So it kills the brains of everything. Your car's ECU, the SCADA systems running the water supply.
All of it. Instantly gone. And then comes the second wave.
The E3 wave. This is the slower knockout blow to the grid itself.
That's where the real structural damage happens. The E3 acts more like a giant solar flare, inducing a massive DC current into the long power lines.
The big extra high voltage line.
It causes something called half-cycle saturation. You're basically overloading the cores of the large power transformers, the LPTs, and they physically melt.
And the delivery system for this chaos is already in place.
That's the most concerning part. The sources point to the orbital vector, satellites like Iran's Noor-2 or Torque-3.
And they're at the perfect altitude, right?
They're at the optimal altitude, about 285 miles up. That gives them a footprint covering the entire continental U.S., and, it lets them bypass our missile defenses.
Because our shields look north for missiles coming over the pole, not straight down.
Exactly. They'd never even see it coming.
So the ultimate vulnerability isn't the weapon, it's our own grid, the LPT bottleneck.
It's the absolute glass jaw of our entire nation. These LPTs they're enormous, up to 800,000 pounds.
And they're all custom built.
Custom engineered, mostly imported, and the lead time to replace one is 18 months to 4 years.
4 years.
And that's for one. The E3 wave could destroy hundreds of them. So you're not looking at a blackout. You're looking at years of darkness.
Which is what leads to that terrifying secondary effect, the radiological one.
Yes, that first E1 wave, the one that kills the microchips, it would also likely fry the control circuits for the backup diesel generators at our commercial nuclear reactors.
So there's no grid power and then no backup power.
And with no power, you can't pump cooling water. The reactors overheat, the water boils away, and you could be looking at widespread meltdowns. So
to wrap this up, Iran has the means, they have the theological justification, and our infrastructure is simply too fragile to recover.
That is the core takeaway. It's the asymmetry. They don't need to match our military might. They just target our dependence.
But the sources note something really staggering.
The cost.
The cost. The cost to harden the U.S. grid against all of this is reportedly less than the cost of a single new aircraft carrier.
That's the figure, yes.
So the question we really have to leave you with is, how does a country rationalize prioritizing massive offensive power when an existential threat is posed by its own completely unhardened critical infrastructure at home? It's a terrifying question.